Hey everyone, this is Matt with Learn Everything About Design, and in today's video, we're going to be looking at the brand new Revopoint MetroY Laser 3D scanner. Now, that was a mouthful, but stick with us because we're going to talk about this scanner, how it's different from the X, and there's also another version of this called the MetroY Pro. So, of course, we are an affiliate channel, so if you want to support the channel and you're looking to buy, you can check out the description of the video. We'll put everything in there. There are discount codes. Usually, these things are almost always on sale. And if you do want to support the channel, you do have to use the affiliate link. That's the only way that it'll do it. But if you don't, use the discount code, save a couple bucks, no problem there. Okay, so we got a lot to cover. Revopoint has been releasing new scanners and updates pretty rapidly. So we've got the Metro X, the MetroY, MetroY Pro, the Inspire 2, the Track It, the robotic arm that they've released as well, plus all the other scanners that are available. Now, obviously on this channel, we've talked about most of the Revopoint scanners. We do have a Track It, an Inspire 2 should be coming as well. So hopefully we can give you information on pretty much all of them. But this video is focused on the MetroY. And specifically, we want to talk about what's different than the Metro X. Why are there two scanners that are seemingly similar or overlap? So the first thing that we need to understand is that the MetroY is a new and different scanner than the Metro X, but, and there is a big but here, they are essentially overlapping. Now what I mean by that is they're both laser scanners. They both have the same rough object size. They basically have the same precision and accuracy with some nuanced differences we'll talk about in a bit. So why do they both exist? Well, I don't know why they both exist, but this one is better. And let's talk about why. So in addition to having parallel lines and cross laser lines, the MetroY that we have here and the Pro both have more parallel lines. So 15 instead of 7 in the Metro X. They both have more cross laser lines, 30 in the MetroY and 34 in the MetroY Pro versus 14 in the Metro X. And both the MetroY and MetroY Pro have a single laser line, and that's probably the most important thing. The single laser line allows us to scan into deep crevices and deep holes with more precision and accuracy. So it's not necessarily like you can't get that data another way, but using a single line mode prevents us from bringing millions and millions of points in that we don't really need when we want to focus our attention on a specific area. So the addition of that single line laser mode is important. In addition to that, because we have more laser lines plus some updated processing and some differences that happen on the inside here, we're actually capturing quite a few more points per second. So the Metro X in 14 cross laser line mode could see about 800,000 points per second, which sounds pretty good. But this one here, the MetroY, will do about 1.5 million points per second. The MetroY Pro is 1.7 and 1.7 million points per second. So they are pulling in more data. They have more laser scanning modes. The Y version, the MetroY, is laser only. There's no full field mode in here. This particular model does have an RGB camera on it. However, I haven't seen any option in the software to actually capture color, so I haven't been able to use that yet. But the MetroY Pro does also come with the same full field mode that you get in the Metro X. So the 62 blue line full field mode. And we also have the 2-axis turntable. So that is an option for the advanced version, just like it is in the Metro X. Now, there are some other nuanced differences and improvements, but at the core, let's just think about this as an updated or an upgraded Metro X. So again, single laser line mode, more cross lines, more parallel lines, and more points per second pulling in. So some other big improvements to this, these now have Wi-Fi 6 built into them. And with that, there is a new app that you can download on your phone if you want to. I personally don't do that, but you can use a screen mirroring app where you can see what you're scanning paired with your computer. There is also a wireless bundle that you could get with the MetroY Pro, which has a battery handle. And so that you can use your phone as a screen mirror, you can use the battery handle to power it, and then you can use Wi-Fi 6 over to the computer. So those are all great improvements. Now, in terms of the precision and accuracy, they are essentially the same. Now I say essentially the same is because the only spec that I see that's really different is the volumetric accuracy. So think of that as scanning a large, big object. The further the distance you go, the more accumulated error you get. All right, so if you're scanning something small like this thermostat housing, there's really not any accumulated error with that. But if you scan something like a car, which personally, this is not the scanner that I would choose to do that, but if you scan something long like a car, the bigger the object is, the more accumulated error you get. All right, so there are two reasons, or there are two things that have changed to help this out. All right, so first, obviously, there's some differences in processing sensors and so on. Those things get improved over time. The second is there's a lot more cooling and onboard heat sort of management that happens with the MetroY. So when we're scanning with this in RevoScan, we have an on-screen temperature display, so we can pay close attention to the overall temperature of the unit. Now, the reason that's important is because as these things get hot, then the error starts to accumulate. So with all that, the numbers are relatively similar, but the MetroY has the volumetric accuracy of 0.02 millimeters plus 0.04 plus or times the length of your object in meters. Now the MetroX was 0.025 plus 0.05. So again, it's slightly different, but probably negligible for most things that you're going to scan. Okay, so I think we've talked about most of what's going on with this. Let's talk a little bit about the housing itself. It's a very similar size to the MetroX. The distance between the depth cameras, very similar. There are some nuanced differences between the MetroY and the MetroY Pro. The angle and the field of view are slightly different, which means that the area that you're scanning is slightly different. When I say slightly, I'm talking 20 to 30 millimeters, not a huge difference. The distance away from the object is still the same, 200 to 400 between the MetroX, the Y, and the Y Pro. Some other differences are going to be in the ergonomics. I think the MetroY is an improvement on the X. The section where your hands would be are recessed a bit more, giving you a bit of a lip to hold on to. Some things that I'm not 100% sure on yet. The angle of the cable coming out is slightly different. It was lower, and I say slightly, I mean, we're talking very slightly. It was a lower angle on the MetroX, which means when you set this thing down, the cable is coming more horizontal, where this one's coming out more vertical. And when I say close, I'm talking maybe 5 to 10 degrees. It's not a huge amount. But the other thing is that the MetroY does have rubber pads, so you can set it down just like you can the MetroX. However, the unit I have, the rubber pad on the end seems to be at a kind of a funky angle. I don't know if that's potentially a manufacturing thing on this unit, but because of that upper one, it makes it a little less stable. Like it wants to rock back and forth just a little bit. I believe because it's slightly different than the bottom rubber bumper that it's probably just this early release unit, and that's going to be the issue. So I'll have to pay attention to it when I take a look at another one of these, but for right now you can still set it down like that. I just need to pay a little bit more attention. The fan on this is on the top side, whereas on the MetroX it's on the bottom below the cable. So with this, we've got a fan and intake grate on the top. There is some vent holes around the laser projectors below the RGB camera. There's also a vent on the bottom where the USB cable goes. So I think they really did a lot more with thermal management on this unit to kind of keep it cool. When you first power it up, you can hear the fan, but once it gets up to speed, it's quiet. It's just that initial startup. Another thing that changed is the cable is a little bit longer, at least it feels longer, and it's USB-C to the computer instead of USB-A like some of the original MetroX cables. I don't know if that is going to change for this one or not. It's still USB-C at the unit, but at the computer it did change. And the only reason I mention that is because I did get a warning when I booted up my computer and it was plugged in, something about the USB-C not being able to supply power to the device. It still has its own power supply, so it's probably just a generic warning that was in the BIOS when it was fired up, but I just thought I'd mention it anyways. Okay, so now that we've talked about what's different between the Y Pro and the X, Talked a little bit about the specs, how they're basically the same, but there are some improvements here. Let's talk about the PC specs. Now, one thing that I'll note, when we first started playing around with the MetroX, I had very early beta units, ones that didn't even have fans in them yet, and we were using beta software. As we've seen the software get developed more and more, they started to unlock the GPU and basically improved all aspects of it. The MetroX has gotten quite a bit faster and easier to use. So initially the tests were okay, full field was great, the laser scanning, depending on which version of the software we were messing with, it was either okay, acceptable, and getting better. With this one, when I first plugged it in, and again, I'm using a beta version of the software because these are kind of early release, I was impressed with the speed right away. Now remember, it is pulling in pretty much twice the number of points per second in laser mode, and you can tell. So using this, I'm able to scan objects extremely quickly. And if you go back to our video where we compared the MetroX to the Creality Raptor, the MetroX was faster, at least on our testing, than the Creality Raptor Pro. In this case, this is at least twice as fast as the MetroX. And I know that's a big thing. And when we talk about scanning something, my initial test, we were scanning an object and it was taking about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes with the MetroX. That means we're talking about roughly a minute with this thing to scan something completely. So that's incredibly fast. I'm seeing about 60 frames a second when I'm using this on my computer. And it's by no means a top spec machine. It's actually somewhere right in the middle of the suggested specs for Revopoint, for Revoscan. And with that, let's also talk about the PC specs, because as the software is getting improved each time it gets released, the specs seem to be dropping a little bit. So currently a 12th gen i7 is the minimum recommendation, a decent amount of RAM, 16 to 32 gigs, and then there is no graphic card recommendation. Because we can use CPU or GPU acceleration, you can actually toggle off GPU acceleration. Now on my desktop, that is running I think we got a 10th gen i7 in there. I have a decent RTX card, but it gives me a warning saying that the GPU is not going to produce good results. It suggests using CPU acceleration. I click it on GPU anyways, and it hasn't crashed on me, but it does allow you to toggle back and forth. So the good news here is that if you have a lower spec system, a system that's a little bit older, now something that is a 10th gen i7 like I'm running on my desktop, it's below the specs from Revopoint, but I'm still able to use it. Keep in mind that if you go too far back, you're gonna not have Windows 11 compatibility and you're gonna start running into problems elsewhere anyways. But just keep that in mind, that the minimum specs seem to be getting lower and lower with each release of Revoscan. I don't know how much further they're gonna go back, but that is at least something to consider, that those specs are coming down. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about my impressions. So when I first unboxed this thing and got it out, and I got out the MetroX, again, ergonomically, I feel like it's an improvement. I feel like it's a little bit more comfortable in hand. I think my only critique there is where I want to hold this, where my thumb would go and where I want to hold it. The cable is kind of in the way. Let's see if I can highlight this. All right, so when the cable's plugged in and my hand is here, my hand is resting on where the cable's coming out. And so again, that goes back to the angle that this is coming out of the unit. Let's push a little latch in. And if I do the same thing on the MetroX, again, same cable, it is below where my hand wants to be. So I have a little bit of a gap there on the MetroX, and I don't have that gap on the MetroY. So again, ergonomically, I feel like the housing is better. It's more comfortable in hand, but where I want to hold it in this orientation, my hand is resting on that cable. So, that's going to cause wear if I'm sort of pushing on it. So I would really love it if the angle of this was a little bit lower, closer to the MetroX. Probably something I'll get used to, and I'll just have to hold it a little bit differently. But that's just an ergonomic point that I want to mention. Another thing, if you are or happen to be using a MetroX, The buttons are in the same location, but they're actually switched. So on the Metro X, the first button was the on-screen monitor. So basically you hit the M button and your sort of depth camera preview would toggle away. On this one, it's actually the play pause button. So that's good because that's the button that you would be hitting if you wanted to stop a scan. That's where your finger is just naturally. And then the M button is at the top. So it's a little bit more of a reach to get there, but honestly, I never use that. I always leave that preview on the screen. So I'm happy that that has moved. As I did mention, there are wireless options for the MetroY Pro. So if you're using that, then you're holding it in a different orientation with a handle. So some of the other stuff that I talked about doesn't really matter because you're not going to be reaching that button with your finger and the cable won't be in your way. Other impressions that I have, calibration was fine. No real big issues there. Kind of calibrates just like the Metro X does. And getting up and running was the same as the Metro X. There wasn't really any nuanced difference. I did try this on several different parts. I've got some sandblasted aluminum parts. These are thermostat housings from, I believe it's a first gen 4G63. And I did pretty well scanning these. I tried a couple of different modes, the parallel, cross line, and the single line. I tried it on this triple clamp, which we've done several times on the channel. And I did the castings on the bottom in single line, and I did the shiny side on the top. All that was fine. I did another black part. This is powder coated, basically stamped aluminum. Totally fine with that in the laser mode. And then the one that's always sort of my litmus test here is this black anodized triple clamp. What I found is that pretty much no laser scanner I've used to date has captured this. The best scanner that's captured this has been a blue sort of structured light scanner, like a full field mode or NIR style scanner. The laser scanners just can't really seem to get the shiny black anodized. I tried it on the shiny mode, I tried it on the black mode, I tried increasing and decreasing the exposure, and it does pick it up better than the Metro X, but for a part like that, I would still have to go to a scan spray, I think. So that's just something to consider there. But I was pleasantly surprised on all the parts I did, and I'll put some links in the description of the video so you can get these files and take a look at them if you want. Typically what I do is very minimal processing so you can kind of see what the raw data looks like. That doesn't always give the smoothest result, so you're not going to look at the smoothest mesh. You'll see you know, some orange peel kind of stuff on it. I'll also try to include a fully processed, like a cleaned up processed one so you can see the difference there. But I will at least include the thermostat housing stuff and maybe some other files that I play around with that maybe aren't shown in this video, but at least that stuff I'll include. One last note about this, Revopoint is saying that the marker dots that are required for the MetroY and the MetroY Pro are higher reflectivity. And so they're saying that you need to upgrade and use newer markers. I put the new Revopoint markers on this little black mat that I have here and used it. And they worked great. I mean, it was totally fine. As a test, like on the triple clamps and stuff, I've got a mismatch of all kinds of different marker dots from different manufacturers. And it was able to pick those up as well. It certainly didn't pick them up as good as it did the newer highly reflective ones, but it did still do okay on the older ones. So what I would say is you probably want the newer markers because I was able to get to a steeper angle with the newer ones. And I think that's kind of, that's what you're going to want, especially if you're not going to be putting marker dots all over your objects. You do still need to have marker dots in laser mode. So that's just something to consider, that you will probably want higher reflective marker dots for that. The last thing that I do want to mention in this video is cost, because obviously that's going to be a very important factor. Now, when the Metro X came out, both the Metro X and the Metro X Advanced Kit, they are, in my opinion, extremely affordable laser scanning options. I'm only going to talk about the retail prices because the sales vary from time to time, and if we have any discount codes, I'll leave them in the description of the video. But the base Metro X retails for about $1,000. It's 900 and something. And the Advanced Kit, which comes with the 2-axis turntable, the extra sort of 3D markers, And there are a couple of other things like a tripod that it comes with for the turntable. That's $1,200. So $200 more for the extra stuff, which I think personally with the turntable, even though I don't do much turntable scanning and the magnetic markers, I think that's totally worth it. Now, the MetroY base price is about $1,300. I think it's $1,200 and something. And again, it's laser only mode. There's no full field, there's no turntable. You're just getting a laser scanner. And the MetroY Pro is $1,700. I think it's like $1,759 maybe. It's some sort of weird number like that. Again, all these are on sale right now. So the prices are $200–300 less than that. But those are the retail prices. And so again, with the MetroY, I believe there are other options. So of course you can bundle things like Revo Design, which is a rebrand of Quick Surface Light. You can get the wireless kit, so you get the battery powered handle. You'll get the sort of the phone adapter, so you can use the screen mirroring app on your phone if you want, so you can use this fully wireless. And again, these are Wi-Fi 6, so you can connect that to your laptop and use it wireless as long as it's powered. So there's a lot of great options there, but you're basically looking at a range from about $1,000 up to $1,700 for the MetroY Pro with those accessories. Now, another thing to keep in mind is there are a lot of scanners to choose from, right? So the Inspire 2 is coming out that has basically a full field and a laser scan mode for very little amount of money, in my opinion, for what you're getting. So we'll be testing that out. The Track It on the other end of the spectrum is by no means a small hobby scanner. It's definitely more expensive. It's a much bigger kit that you have to take with you, and you need a lot more space to use it. So there are laser scanners across the spectrum with Revopoint, and they're really trying to do a good job of sort of filling the needs of the consumer. So going forward, I don't know if I'm going to test the MetroY Pro or not. It's still up for discussion. I will be testing the Inspire 2. I do have a Track It here. I will be testing that in the near future as well. But what I would expect to see is probably the Metro X being replaced by the MetroY. I don't have any information on that. This is just kind of my own opinion because there is so much overlap between these two. The MetroY is definitely a better scanner in my opinion, even though it is more expensive. So I don't know what the plan is from Revopoint for this. I don't know if the Metro X gets downgraded and the MetroY gets upgraded or what happens. But right now there is a lot of overlap. The MetroY is definitely winning in terms of its speed and its functionality, having that extra laser mode. And if you get the Y Pro version, you still get all the stuff you get in the advanced kit. So you do get the turntable and all those accessories that you need. And again, you do also get the full field mode with the RGB camera and color scanning that you do with the Metro X as well. So that was a whole bunch to talk about there, but hopefully that helps better understand what the MetroY is, how it kind of compares to the Metro X, and maybe that'll help you make your decision. Now, I can't tell you which one to get if you are looking at both of these. I will just simply say that the MetroY, performance-wise, was quite a bit faster. So if that's a concern of yours and you're okay spending a couple extra $100, the performance boost that I've seen in the Y was definitely worth that for me. And the reason I say that is because if I have to scan in here for, let's say, 6 hours one day, and the MetroY can do it in 3, that is a massive amount of time that I've saved. You still have to process the scans and do all that, and that obviously is going to take about the same amount of time no matter how fast you scan it. But what I will say is that performance boost is definitely noticeable, and when you first turn it on and you first move it over your part, it is instantly apparent how much faster the MetroY is than the Metro X. That doesn't mean the Metro X is a bad scanner by any means. It is fast in its own right, and our tests with the Raptor Pro showed that this was scanning faster, faster than the Raptor Pro. So that's kind of where I put these two. Now, do you need the single line mode? Do you need the MetroY Pro with the full field? These are all decisions that you need to have, but just at the core of it, getting a laser scanner with that kind of performance at roughly $1,300 on sale for, I think, around $1,000 right now. Pretty screaming deal, I think. So if you have any questions on these, let me know. I'll put links and all the information in the description of the video, link to the Revopoint website with our affiliate link if you want to use it, discount codes if we have them, and I'll put download links for any scanned models that I want to share. And if you have any questions, just let me know. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.